Alrighty. Even though we could share that on Discord and I'll figure it out. But another thing on my Discord that I did see wanted to get reacted to: which Pokemon is the worst pet? By Bumbles McFumbles by I don't know what Johto. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. But yeah, let's go check this out. What exactly do we have here? Because last time we did this, second generation gold and silver. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming just more Pokemons that are gonna be absolutely house hazards.
Pokemon! Again. Listen, explaining Pokemon the first time was insulting. Explaining Pokemon a second time would be a death threat. We're back again to talk turkey on Poke Pets.
Okay.
Except we're gonna head over from Kanto to Johto this time to discuss all manner of potential partners. Who knows? Given the abundance of evolutions in this region, some mons that bottomed out near the tail end of the last list might get a second shot. But this region is also the same one that introduced evil type. Oh, they try to doll it up in English with dark type, but what are the chances that a creature that was born evil is gonna pee on the newspaper? As a reminder, these pets are being graded based on how easy it is to house them, if they have a good typing for pet ownership, determined by this graph,
I'm assuming
if they're a
probably
well-behaved
no.
Pokemon, if they're safe to be around, and finally if it's an easy animal to take care of. With Steel type being introduced alongside Dark, you might need to start penciling in some polish to keep that coat nice and shiny.
So
After
we got to be a
tallying up
mechanic.
the scores, we'll go over the 5 overachievers, who are everything you could ever want in a pet, as well as the underachievers, who, at best, didn't pass in work, and at worst are gonna show you if your intestines match the curtains.
Okay. Alright.
Starting out the list is Mr. Lonely, the sole representative of his grade and avoided being a worst pet contender by a mere 0.5 points. Remember how I said some Pokemon would get a second chance to impress? It's also a second chance to get worse. Onix
Okay, what
wasn't
does
a
this guy
high-ranking
do?
Pokemon before, coming in with a 5 of his own, but Steelix manages to dig his way even deeper onto the list. In fact, that's exactly how we got into this mess in the first place. Steelixes are born when an Onix burrows deep underground, some deeper than half a mile. This can also take up to 100 years to fully play out, so if you're in the market for a present for your great-grandson's 21st birthday, teach Onix dig. When it finally does show back up, he's not any easier to take care of than Onix was, still shoveling delicious dirt into its mouth for nutrients.
So
which means that, like it or not,
are you telling me there could be a patch of land that, let's say, a company buys and builds a house over in like 20 years, and like several generations down, a random family just might have this thing pop out of the ground like 100 years later? Is that what you're telling me? It's like just this is a surprise. Are we gonna have to have like X-ray machines to just make sure we don't build over these things in property areas?
you're now the town moat maker. His jaw is strong enough to crack through boulders. If you think your unweatherized shed is safe, think again. Imagine going to adopt a cat and coming back with a cat bulldozer. You dug your grave, now dig it deeper. 5 is another lonely number, as its sole representative is one of Johto's legendary beasts.
Fire.
Entei is a bundle of complicated feelings all trapped inside one big grumpy cat. A common trait among all 3 beasts is an inability to sit still. These 3 were the first roaming legendaries in Pokemon, and nothing short of contracting out a Dugtrio is gonna keep them from running. Not rain, nor sleep, nor snow is gonna stop these guys from getting where they want to go, which is far away from you and your dollar store treats. Then once you get your hands on the thing,
I give my pet $2 store treats.
When this Pokemon barks, somewhere in the world a volcano erupts. Not often a fire type deals psychic damage, but knowing that when Entei sees the mail truck, whole civilizations are going to be turned to ash,
that's
pretty haunting.
That's very
haunting.
haunting.
Beasts, it's also the most ornery, while Suicune is off purifying lakes and, you know, not being an ice type for some reason, and Raikou is off chasing its tail, Entei is kidnapping women. I know it's an illusion of him, but The real Entei didn't seem too eager to clear up the confusion. I just think that's interesting. I'm just saying, we tally up the numbers, Entei definitely wins the kidnapping women competition. 6 is when the categories finally start getting some meat on them, as we've got 4 Pokemon to tackle. Up first is Forretress. Not since Electrode has a Pokemon seemingly had
that looks like a wheel
going for it. On the outside, it's a big metal ball with a few pegs on the side.
It looks like a wheel.
On the inside, well, that's not really known, but it only takes 1 dex entry to turn this from a boulder buddy into one of the most hazardous Pokemon you could ever get. Is it deadly? Is it traumatizing? Does it come from Alola? I see a Y in my future! In the Devil's Playground of Alola, they've discovered that Forretress handling is actually just a really clever way to cash in on life insurance, since approaching it causes it to fire off sharp metal fragments. Wanna know what else fires off sharp metal fragments? Guns! And in case the more daring among us think they'll just build up its...
As I like to call them, force multipliers. So in Pokemon Movie 3, a little girl got reality warping powers, wanted a mother, and her favorite Pokemon kidnapped Ash's mom. What? They did what now? Humans could get powers like that too? I thought the Pokemons were the whole magical aspect of that world, but you're telling me people could do that over there? Damn, no wonder these Pokemon exist. That's crazy.
Trust via email before daring to get close to it, this is not something that Forretress can control. No matter what, as long as you approach him, he'll fire off shrapnel. It's not a conscious action, it's a reflex. Yeah, my pet's the shotgun door trap from Saw. What breed is yours? Sneasel is next, and as our first dark type, he fails at leaving much of a positive impression. Dark and ice is already a miserable type combination for pet ownership. The money that you save on lighting your house immediately goes into cooling it 24/7. It loves to hunt for itself, but the only thing this little stinker feels comfortable going one-on-one with are unattended eggs. I mean, if I were 4 times weak to fighting, I'd also probably try to avoid head-on fights as much as I could, but that doesn't mean you have to like me. Worse yet, this is a smart Pokemon. The Dex is constantly bragging about its intelligence, which means just like Gengar before it, it's smart enough to know that it's being bad and just doesn't care. Following closely behind Entei is his little brother Raikou. So, there's a popular theory that when the Brass Tower burned down and Ho-Oh revived the 3 lost Pokemon into the legendary beasts, the Pokemon revived were a Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon. Makes sense. The Kimono Girls in the dance theater showed that Eevee is clearly important to the town, they followed the type theming, and also ride the line of dog or cat, just like Eevee. I think what really solidifies this theory, though, is how just like Jolteon when it comes to being a pet, Raikou is remarkably unremarkable. If middle child syndrome hit Jolteon hard, it backs up over Raikou a few times for good measure. His brothers get movies all to themselves, but for Raikou, I fished this TV special out of the trash. You want it? Sure, he's a heck of a lot more dangerous than
middle child
Jolteon,
syndrome.
but it's not exactly hard to say that you can just copy and paste everything about Jolteon, swap out the names.
I mean, it looks like a saber-toothed tiger with what's it called? With sloth nails and a mustache. And I guess 13th century English hairstyle on it, like the judges in back in the day.
And get the exact same result. All that he really has going for him is that if this were prehistoric times and the Order of Divinity was decided by who could wear the most neckties, he'd be a lock. Squeaking in with technically a higher score is Gligar. Now, poison and flying was already a pretty poor typing combination with Golbat.
Get me like a mosquito
it's not gonna take much longer to see how bad it is again, so to burden another Pokemon with it, What? Ground? Oh, what do you think when you see a purple scorpion Pokemon? Oh, dirt! He may not be toxic by type, but he's certainly toxic by nature. Being an independent hunter
He's
means
a
he's gonna take care of
dirt
most of
type?
the hard work for you,
Ground type?
but it's how he goes about catching
That
that
makes
prey
no
that
sense.
raises some problems. His hunting tactics involve latching onto the victim's face and injecting them with poison, you say? Ah, what, you aren't injecting them with mud? Well, now forgive my presumptions, but doesn't that sound like what a poison type would do?
Yes.
Aside from that, the only other major
Sounds
noteworthy
like
thing
something-
about Glider
It just sounds like a bigger wasp. Flying ground.
is that it likes to make its home up on high cliff faces, which means that housing is only as easy as your chimney is tall. 7 is, again, home to one no-hoper in the form of Ariados. Alright guys, we're all
It's
gonna
a
be
bug.
real nice to Ariados and pretend we didn't see this coming from a mile away.
It's just a
There's
bug.
not much that needs to be said that Ariados's bright red coloring doesn't
It's a
already tell you.
spider-ish.
A giant poisonous bug as a
Bug.
pet is already a gamble when you can keep it in a terrarium. But
Yeah.
when you have to start negotiating out land with it, the dynamic shifts.
You
And
hate it.
this isn't a Beedrill situation where once it finds a spot, it just completely takes it over. No, Ariados doesn't like having just one
Ew.
spot to itself. It refuses to make just one web and will scatter them all around to catch as much food as possible, even leaving a single strand to help it get back to a web quickly. And Ariados is a
Yeah.
nocturnal hunter, so as you
Oh
try
my
to sleep, the
God.
sounds of a giant spider scuttling around
There's gonna be a bad day where you wake up to drink water at night and you walk into a fucking web and then this thing just jump scares you and just bites your face.
your house will be your white noise. Isn't that pleasant? There isn't
It's
a lot
very
violent
unpleasant.
about its dex entries. One even implies this thing can make friends, but all that needs to be taken with a grain of salt when dealing with a spider that weighs as much as a couple hams. 8 is home to the next 3 Pokemon, with the first one not being a credit to his type's already abysmal reputation. Murkrow's just a little f***. He's said to be the bearer of
Okay.
ill fortunes and dread to whoever sees it at night, but after it
So
swipes
fuck
the hat
you.
off my head for the 15th time, I start to wonder if it's the Baron of Darkness, or just a brat. He's a small bird, which means he's pretty easy to house, but you're not gonna really want him inside when he spends all night moving your wallet and keys around to new hiding spots just to watch you waddle around in the morning to try to find them.
Oh,
Assuming
hell no.
It even lets you have them back. Just like Meowth, they
So-
love shiny objects, and are likely to hide them in
So
personal
you're telling me you're just the bird of mild inconveniences. You know, at that point I'd prefer you just kill me because I'm just gonna kill you. I'm sorry. I see you in my house and you ruin my day by so many little tiny inconveniences. I am gonna roast the shit out of you. You're going straight into the deep fryer.
spots only they can get to, and trying to get them back will only give you the conversation starter of, why do you have those talon marks on your face? He'll probably steal his own food just for the thrill of it, but other than that, avoid Murkrow. After him is
I'm
the
shooting
Soul
him with a
Dragon
force
type of
multiplier.
Johto. Kingdra has come to avenge his line's middling performance from last time.
A seahorse.
Always gotta one-up the younger brothers. Seadra was fine, so Kingdra's gotta be terrible. Creates massive whirlpools every time it moves. Notice how it
how
didn't say in the
nice.
water. Kingdra should be a majestic water dragon. It's the only one the region has to call its own, but delving into what Kingdra actually does, it becomes pretty easy to see that it's resting on that majesty. It won't stop talking about how much it sleeps. It's either making whirlpools or sleeping in a cave. Does that sound like it wants to play fetch?
It's
Add up
holiness,
the danger,
okay?
inactivity,
It's a
and strict
king.
living
It's
conditions,
meant to be
and
lazy.
it's not hard to see that when it comes to water dragon types, sure was the first one. Last up is Piloswine,
Oh.
and it's the first one where how awful he is almost wraps back around to being charming. Having a face-to-face chat with this thing requires throwing yourself on the ground. He's slow, blind, and yet still 3 feet tall. Ever wonder what it's like to have a mound of dirt as your pet? Sandygast is in shambles. So what makes him so bad? Surely if he's so slow, he can't be up to much,
Okay,
right?
what is
Yeah, if you
What is-
don't count head trauma as much. Thanks to being unable to see, Piloswine is on constant high alert of everything that could be a threat, and will rush headlong into whatever might be a danger to it. This includes
It charges
attackers,
you.
predators, table legs,
Oh my
chair
god, it charges
legs,
at you.
human legs. He covers the whole spectrum.
It's the ultimate
and it doesn't
shin
matter if
test.
he's not the fastest, 100-pound pig smashing into you is gonna hurt. Trim his eyebrows and maybe it can work, but as is, wait until Sinnoh. Bad for Pokemon, worse for tourism. 9 is next, and first up is a Pokemon whose name doubles as instructions. Unknown. Folks out there with a favorite letter of the alphabet or who
Unknown?
just really fucking hate K are gonna find a lot to love with this thing.
What the hell is this
But
thing?
what is this thing?
It's an eye.
Unknown has threatened for years
It's
to
a
have some
keychain.
sort of hidden power or importance that it just never really delivered on. It floats around, making a low hum, one that gets louder if you own multiple.
It's
Teaching a
literally
parrot
just
how to
that.
cuss is so last year. I made my pets spell a bad word. And getting a bunch of them together is about the only way you're gonna get any value out of them, since when they're alone, all they do is stick to the wall. Despite how much people value
This is
Unknown,
literally
it's
just a
never really
cursive
done
letter
much of note
as
aside
a
from
Pokemon.
making an Entei that kidnaps women. The flip side of a Pokemon that's not really trying at all is one that's giving 100% at all times.
This is how the
even when
orphan
it
got
really,
reality
really
powers?
shouldn't. And Caesar is
Really? By the unknown? That's a meta. Alright, I gotta write that down. Ever see Pokemon IRL? Go for unknowns. Alright, thank God. Alright.
that. If you have any experience with Scyther, you're already gonna have a leg up on training this thing, since it is no different in how strong it is, it's just distributed that strength differently. It might not have changed stat-wise, but ever since it put on that metal coat, it's been a lot more intense. A pair of scissors might seem safer than scythes, but a scissor is kind of like two scythes on its
Yeah,
own. So
scythe
if
is more
Scyther is a
dangerous,
danger to
actually.
you, Scizor is like a danger to national security. It's an aggressive, hot rod red roach with a need to win or die trying. Now, megas aren't being counted in this discussion because how best to abuse your dog isn't something to look into when picking him out. So if I start banging this pot next to his head, that will upset him? But Mega Caesar does give us a look into how serious this thing is, with how it will fight so hard its body begins to melt. Hitmontop comes next, and you've already got an unreliable little pup. You adopt him hoping to see him spin. Look how little time he spends spinning! You're not called Hitmonstand, now get spinning or get lost! He comes with all the usual trappings of fighting types, like being overly intense and a bundle of energy and kicks, but what puts Hitmontop this low is a mixture of being a pain to take care of and a pain to get kicked by. This thing's kicks are killer, especially when it finally does start spinning and ups that destructive force by 10 times. But the hardest part of owning a Hitmontop is just getting one. In order to get your hands on a Hitmontop, you need a Tyrogue whose attack stat is the same as his defense stat. Ah yes, the perfect middle ground between punching and kicking. Who'd have thought that a
yeah.
fighter could be such a diva? Finally for 9,
Well, thank
and
you.
it brings me
It's
no
just a
pleasure
bat.
to rate him so lowly. It's Crobat. My beloved bat is sadly not the best of pets. First off, this thing is ginormous. You would peg him at beach ball size, maybe, but no, he's moving sideways through every door he sees. He's a blood drinker
That's
too, like
huge.
a Golbat, so he's gonna require gallons upon gallons of blood every day. And if he's too
Oh,
far away
hell
from
no.
home, you're gonna need to pick him up, cause he traded out his legs for extra wings. His fat little body will be there, bursting with yummy plasma, hopefully having killed whatever he got it from so it doesn't come to try to take it back. None of that sounds good.
No, it
so
does
what
not.
makes it worthy of the 9 he earned? Well, Crobat is one of the first Pokemon to not evolve with level ups, stone, or trading. He evolves with friendship. The only way for a Crobat to exist is if you've shown a Golbat the sort of love it could have only dreamed of. And this gives it a shockingly high behavior rating.
I'm assuming
Crobat
that
learned
means
how
it
to
won't
love,
kill
and
you.
it's thanks to you. So it's already your best friend. Crobat cannot exist without the milk of human kindness. Except for one route in Alola during raid battles. 10 brings us to the okay pets. These guys might not be the first choice you should go for, but with enough elbow grease, you can sculpt them into a great partner.
Enough
Yanma
elbow
is the
grease.
first member of that
That's
group,
just a
and he's a
just
mixed
dragonfly.
basket that leans more towards positive than negative. Of course, if you have one of those houses with windows in them, Yanma might be a bad choice, since his wing beat is so fast that a sudden stop can create a sonic boom that can shatter glass.
What?
And there are parts of your head that aren't as durable as glass.
What?
He's also about
Hello?
4 feet
That's
long,
the
which
sound
means
problem.
he's as long as Piloswine is tall.
This is gonna kill you.
So housing him can be difficult. But the ease of care on this guy is insanely good. Dragonflies in the real world are great at catching pest species like mosquitoes. Yeah, I'd go right the fuck back up if I were you, bozo. This is Yanma country. It's
True.
not much worth keeping track of Yanma when he's out of the house since he's so fast, so he's pretty self-sufficient in terms of walks, but he has plenty of problems keeping him from breaking into the higher tiers. Corsola may be the biggest glass cannon in terms of pet ownership.
How so?
It's a rock with a face, and it's nice about it.
Nice.
No big old sour scowl like Geodude. This thing loves life. What little life it gets. Corsola's problems have nothing to do with Corsola. If these two stats were different, Corsola wouldn't be anywhere near these other jabronis. But its housing and ease of care ruin this thing.
How
Do
so?
you have any idea how hard it is to grow coral? Coral may be one of the most fragile forms of life on the planet, needing a perfect ecosystem to survive, and gets hit by pollution worse than almost anything else. That means, unless you keep its water impossibly clean, changing it out daily to filter out the impurities, Corsola is gonna get really sick. Do you think there's a reason the only other Corsola we know about are the dead ones? Octillery is another Pokemon that I wish was higher up because he's just a regular octopus. And I love him for it. First off,
looks so derpy though.
Is not gonna prepare you for where this goes. Puberty's a bitch. Now, it shouldn't be a shocker that an octopus based on tanks is a heavy hitter, but it's not just the attacks coming out of his mouth you need to look out for, since his head is just as dangerous. Octopi can also be super smart and become attached to their owners if they're treated right, so not smacking around Octillery might just be the key to not having a hole punched in your chest. He's getting carried by typing, I'll admit it. Finally is another Pokemon that should be no surprise to see so low, Skarmory. Sometimes this is really easy. An aggressive bird covered in swords shouldn't need an explanation, but
you got me immediately.
Skarmory's too popular, he might as well get one. Oh, you're lucky you're so handsome. Shock of shocks.
No.
Skarmory isn't actually that poorly behaved. Nothing in the dex leads you to calling it one way or the
You
other,
need predator
so
bird
it's safe
energy.
to assume that he's a decent pet in that regard. Housing, though? Well, if you take into account that he's made of metal, it's pretty bad. The two things the Dex loves to talk about when it comes to Skarmory is how fast he loves to fly and how it molts its steel feathers. That means that while traveling at over 180 miles per hour, there's a chance Skarmory will just randomly drop a samurai sword onto a crowd of
Even then, just driving by and that colliding with you at all, that's just a death, instant. God, the planes. The flying wouldn't be safe anymore.
Suspecting people. Keep him well groomed and maybe you can let him fly like he likes, but if you don't, just make sure to get that funeral suit steamed. 11 is the home to 3 of the most iconic Johto Pokemon and 3 that people are just gonna be so happy to see solo down. Feraligatr seems like the most cut and dry case out of any of these.
It's a giant crocodile that looks like Godzilla.
Alligator. He was so excited to get to hurting people he left home without all his vowels. At a hulking 7 foot tall and a massive 195 pounds. What? Real alligators weigh half a ton. You might be able to lift this guy. Feraligatr once again proves that typing can make up for a lot when it comes to being a pet, as water typing buoys a lot of negatives, like incredible aggression, a voracious appetite, and huge bulk that makes him a pain to keep as a pet. Like I said, not hard to see why he ranks so lowly. He's not quite Charizard, but he's not quite better. Umbreon is next, and from one starter to another,
Oh,
I
I've
see
seen this
you,
one.
RA. Umbreon is the highest rated dark type out of the whole lot. Great. No matter what I say, it's still an evolution. You're gonna get a certain level of cutesy charm no matter what, and housing it is as easy as any other evolution. That said, he's not doing himself any favors.
I thought this was
The major
electric,
problems with
but
him
I guess
are being
not.
nocturnal and safety.
Just 'cause
Can't
I don't
really
know
play
what
with
their
him much if
affinities
you two
actually
have
are.
completely opposite sleep schedules. But what's worse is that out of self-defense, Umbreon has the ability to sweat. Oh, poison! I've said this for years, but now I'm
That's
sure
nice.
of it. Johto is just Kanto again. Your dog works up a sweat, suddenly the air reeks of death.
And
It's
you
a fair
die.
trait for watching rings light up. Lastly is Wobbuffet. So let's get the big one out of the way.
Aww.
What you exactly would do with a Wobbuffet
looks so
is a mystery. The
cute.
closest thing you can compare it
looks so
to is a punching
cute.
bag, but you don't buy a dog to practice rope-a-dope on it, so the problem really comes from what exactly does Wobbuffet do? At least why not has legs? All we know about Wobbuffet is that it doesn't like bright lights, so I guess keep it indoors? Honestly, he kinda makes a better home defense system than a pet in that regard.
Yeah?
See somebody walk in? Destiny Bond. 12 is our biggest
Wait, the
class
tail on the
yet,
back
with a
is the
crowd of
Pokemon?
to practice rope-a-dope on.
What? Are you serious? That's so weird. That's
Lights,
so weird.
I guess keep it indoors? Honestly, he kinda makes a better home defense system than a pet in that regard. He sees somebody walk in? Destiny Bond. 12 is our biggest class yet, with a crowd of 5, including a few of Johto's best and brightest, who just so happen to completely fail at being pets.
Is the fence making as a
Typhlosion
fake
is
body?
first, and
Oh.
normally those exposed flames would be an issue.
Oh no! Oh no! This should not be anywhere near a house or a family. This deserves to be outside in the fields, away from society. This has got the same energy as if you see a dolphin, and you actually know dolphin lore. You stay away from this thing forever.
But a trip to the third dimension seems to have curtailed any worry of that. That retractable flame is about an equal exchange for an apparent secret technique Typhlosion knows where it can rub its fur together to create an explosion. Yeah, dude. It's called Explosion. Licky Licky can learn it too. Without the exposed flame, Typhlosion is about as close to a normal type as you can get, and without any mention of a 10,000 degree hot sack, it makes him fine. Getting a Typhlosion over a normal type is like getting a dog who knows how to make a Molotov cocktail. He might not do it, but
He knows.
just get a pug for God's sake. Jumpluff is absolutely bizarre. This thing shouldn't be as low as it is. It's just a ball that jumps, right? Well, for the most part, yeah, it's just that. But thanks to Scarlet and Violet, this thing's credit took a humongous hit. Somehow, the less offensive one is Violet, who talks about how breathing in near a Jumpluff is likely to have you breathing in spores that cause horrible coughing and itches. Yeah, breathing? You might want to put that on the hold when Jumpluff's around. That makes its yearly floats around the world on the spring breeze seem sinister when you know the side effects. But it's Scarlet that really puts this thing so far down.
Why?
Those travels
What else
around
does
the
it
world
do?
it does to spread its spores, they have to end eventually, and when the trip ends, they do too. A Jumpluff who loses all of its spores dies, and given how this
That's
Pokemon leaves
dark.
home when the breeze rolls in, your Jumpluff is just gonna vanish one day, and the only solace you get is that one day, it'll die. I can't live with that. Do you know how sad it will be when Jumpluff just vanishes one day, and then a few days later, you hear a knocking on the door? It's a baby Hoppip that has the exact same face that your Jumpluff has, and it jumps up into your arms like it's known you its entire life just because you treated Jumpluff so good. I'm not emotionally ready for Jumpluff. If Octillery and Crobat were
It's
hard for me
pain
to
for
rate
you and
lowly,
it.
rating what was once my absolute favorite is heartbreaking, but if Pinsir got this low, Heracross has got to be here too. So, Heracross is a parallel to
Damn.
Pinsir in a lot of ways. Where one is a stag beetle, Heracross is a Hercules beetle and swaps out a pair of mandibles for a great big horn. That horn is cause for alarm, since he loves tossing things with it. So while he can't
He's gonna
keep
toss
attackers
you.
at bay, he's also likely to send a log flying through your roof
Or your
because
car.
he wanted to see if he could throw it. Ease of care, though, is
He
a
might flip your
huge
car.
boon to him, since he loves nectar and honey. You know exactly what to buy, and it's not hard to find
Okay,
it occurring
yeah.
naturally. Trees have nectar and honey coming out the wazoo, and some Pokemon like Bulbasaur have it coming out their wazoos. Heracross isn't bad, but you need to know exactly what you're doing.
Especially
Now, if there was a
special
Jack's
owners.
preference category, Heracross would be number one, no problems, but I can't do that. Donphan is
Can't
next,
let my
and a
bias
design
show.
like this is one that's built to last.
That's just an
As
elephant.
long as people exist, we'll be liking Donphan. Just like with Jumpluff, Paldea helped characterize Donphan a little better, but instead of a ragweed-spreading ticking
That's
death
just
clock,
an elephant.
Paldea leaves it as Donphan is pretty calm. When it isn't calm, though, which it seems to be a lot, it will curl up into a ball and barrel headlong into whatever's causing it trouble. Nearly 300 pounds of elephant charging at you doesn't sound like something you would want to see, but at the very least, you can rest assured knowing Donphan will be fine since it's very hard to superficially damage. Yeah, he treated the I-95 like a bowling alley and took out a couple dozen cars, but he doesn't need a bath, and he wouldn't want one either. Ground types hate that. Again, specialized care is a must.
Yeah.
Finally is Lugia, who is not a water type. Lugia is not a water type. Lives
Okay.
under the water, parallel to a fire type.
Okay.
Psychic? Of course it is! They aren't gonna make one box legendary super effective against the other. Dear Game Freak, die, bitch. Love Groudon. Co-signed by Solgaleo. Just like with a Pokemon like Jumpluff
Looks very
or
blue,
Venomoth,
though. I
its
think it
real
would
destructive
be a-
potential
I think
isn't
it would
because
be a
it's
water
mean,
type.
but because it has to move. A Lugia on the move has the ability to, at least, destroy a house, and if he's really getting up and going, he can cause a 40-day long storm. What the hell is gonna be
40-day long
left after
storm.
40 days of storms?
Hell no.
Water, which it isn't. Lugia's ease of care comes from how it just doesn't really need your help. It's a giant whale monster that lives at the bottom of the ocean. What are you gonna do? And, if I may, I'd like to propose that Lugia is some sort of chaos sigil that does mental damage to anybody who looks at him for too long. It's happened twice now. All I'm saying is that calling the Ultra Beasts Lovecraftian is a bit disingenuous when this guy's been driving writers insane for over 20 years. The three Pokemon saddled with the unlucky number 13 start out with your friend and mine, Dunsparce. Everybody's favorite lump
I
of
can't
yellow
see
clay
it.
is
I-
our
I-
bridge
what is-
towards... yeah, that's
Oh,
fine,
that's just
I
a bug.
guess, since he's very
With wings?
standard in a lot of ways. He thanks God every day he was born a normal type, as it helps out his rather
Okay.
standard stats all around.
Normal
He's
type?
easy to care for, well-behaved, and not much of a danger if you don't count the drill, but what's he gonna menace with that, wine corks? Housing, though, is his Achilles heel, since whenever he spots someone he doesn't recognize, his immediate reflex is to burrow underground. He's gonna dig his way from
There's
the living
gonna
room to the basement a lot, is what I'm trying to
there's
say.
gonna be
He's
holes
not
in
a
the
bad
floor.
choice, but going to the dog park might be a bit boring with him being underground all the time. And while I'm at it, I just want to hop up on my handy-dandy soapbox and say if you can't appreciate a Dunsparce, I don't think Pokemon's for you. He
I can't
is
appreciate a
wonderful and
Dunsparce.
the manifestation of malicious compliance. Oh, you want more Dunsparce? Here you go! Have a double! No, triple! Following him is another Pokemon who kisses
Oh,
the
it's
ground
just a
Scarlet and Violet
giraffe.
walks on, Girafarig. Girafarig is a Pokemon kinda defined by its solitary gimmick. Finding a dex entry about anything other than its butt head and the brain inside that head is impossible. It's always talking about how it stays up while Girafarig sleeps, or how it might bite someone who tries to approach him from the rear. But other than that, it doesn't mention much else. What we do get is that it's a grazer, eating grass and tree shoots, which means that's ease of care taken care of, and its relatively small size means you're not in danger of ruining your lawn. It's nice to see a psychic type that doesn't see you thinking and take it as an insult. Finally is Ursaring.
That's a bear.
He's trying as hard as possible to prove that being a normal type means you don't have to try that hard.
No, thank you.
Try to believe me. He is not poorly behaved. Yeah, that's right. Pet him, tug his fur, pat his belly, steal his baby. He'll be cool.
No,
it never talks about how violent it is or an incident where it bit a kid's head off. No, instead it talks about how Ursaring is a very hungry...
Is that the bite of 87? I'm sorry, I'm just... we both knew what I was talking about.
bear who likes to eat honey and berries. It doesn't matter if it goes unsaid, it's a bear. He's still gonna be dangerous. He's just not being a dickhead for no reason. 14 houses just one Pokemon, Noctowl. Noctowl's normal flying type means he's in stiff competition with heavy hitters like Pidgeot. And while he's not bad by any stretch, he's got a few issues that keep him from being a really good pet. One problem it doesn't have, surprisingly, is housing. That's because even though it's nocturnal, like a lot of other Pokemon, its feathery down means that it flies in almost total silence. It's a hunter, which means you don't have to worry about food, and also incredibly expressive, with it easy to read its mood based on its head orientation. If it's right side up, you're doing something right. If it's upside down, flee town. Poor Noctowl, though. What a massive variety of types it could have been, only to have them all stolen out from under him. Oh, he's a smart bird, so psychic flying. Oh, well, he hunts at night, so dark flying. Ghost flying? Oh man, I can't keep up. You're telling me 15 comes after 14? We're into the good pets now. These
let's
guys
go,
are
the good
rock
pets.
solid and only have room to grow from here. And who better to usher in
It's
this
a
era of
cow.
better pets than every Johto player's favorite friend,
It's a cow.
Miltank. Check under
It's
your
just a
seats,
fucking
barf bags
cow.
were provided. While it's downright pleasant in almost every way, ease of care and housing tank this Pokemon's performance. 'Cause it's a cow. Do you ever
that's what I
wonder
mean, it's a
why
cow.
casual cow ownership never really caught on? It's 'cause taking care of a cow is hard work. So much food and land goes into raising a healthy cow that you're dedicating loads of time,
This is
energy,
a
and money
rancher's
into
pet.
meeting its needs. That's on top of the 5 gallons of milk it produces every day, meaning you're a milkman now, whether you want to be or not. Sudden career pivots aside, it's really good in all other aspects. It's a happy, plump little cow that loves rolling around and drinking milk. Does it curl up into a ball and suck on its own teat, or does it spray the milk directly up into its mouth? By owning a Miltank, you can find the answers to one of life's greatest mysteries. Stantler is next, and, well,
It's a deer.
sometimes you get one who's just...
Why is most of these... I already hate this Pokemon. I see. Let's say, why is... certain Pokemons are like unknown, or, you know, where like, it's like weird stuff, right? And then there's other ones that just... it's just a fucking animal, you know. It's just a deer. It's just a deer. It looks like a deer that got stung by a bee in the lips. It has swollen lips. Miltank, thanks to the third gem, he was a beast. I see, but like I'm confused with the designs of these things half the time.
Straight down the middle. Is there anything interesting about Stantler? No.
No.
Is there anything wrong with Stantler?
Give me no.
No.
He's the most
Are
mid.
we staying here any longer?
No.
No.
He's
Mantine
mid.
is next and has
That's
quite
a
a bit to
manta
talk
ray.
about. The wind-riding manta ray is an incredibly friendly Pokemon, with it becoming a popular pastime in Alola to swim and surf alongside them. It's mellow enough to let Remoraid swim alongside it, hunts on its own, and doesn't seem to have a mean bone in its body. Problem is, he has too many nice bones. Mantine
Okay.
is big. really, really big. A 7-foot wingspan means that there's no way to keep this thing comfortable, and it's going to need to stay in the ocean. Not even an Olympic-sized swimming pool could keep this guy happy. You need a pool the size of a football field to make him comfortable. This is another case where, under very specific circumstances, Mantine is a perfect pet.
Marine biologist.
But outside of its niche, it's completely unrealistic. 16 is the home to the final legends of Johto, both the bird and beast, and this weird, just a weird lumpy fish. Why does Lantern look like that?
It's like an anglerfish trying to get a good makeover.
Weird to me. I don't know why. Anyway, electricity and water go together, right? Obviously, this is a type combination so bad it ought to be a deduction on its own,
no.
but believe it or not, it doesn't produce the sort of electricity we all associate with electricity.
I was gonna say this is basically having an electrical eel. It's like you you try to take a bath with it and you end up cooked.
Types. Lantern's lights are all bioluminescent,
Oh,
created by bacteria that lives in
okay.
it.
That makes
means
sense,
that
like
playtime with
anglerfish.
Lantern won't turn into a massacre. That must mean it's safe, right? Wrong. Flashbang. Lantern's main method of incapacitating enemies involves flashing its lure brightly enough to blind its prey, so brightly it can be seen from the surface over 3 miles down. The idea of generating lights that can be seen over 3 miles away in water is horrifying, because the thing about those dark depths, it's dark. Light travels so poorly through water that to generate intense enough
I cast 10,000 Luton lights, essentially. I cast flashbang. This thing is gonna blind you and your whole entire block, is what you're telling me. This is, and it looks so small and cute. It's like a weird looking amoeba. I cast bathtub toaster. Weirdly enough, it's bioluminescent, so it's not electricity. So technically, no, it just blind you in the bathtub. It's really what's gonna happen. You're gonna be in the middle of taking a bath, and you're gonna think it's the third or the second coming of Christ, because all you can see around you is just bright white light.
Light to be seen that far away would produce so much energy and heat it would just vaporize anything in its vicinity.
Okay, so it cooks
is that
you.
Safety stat so high if
So you just get burned you get boiled alive in your fucking bathtub.
it can give you 3rd-degree burns with its headlights? Well, I think it's safe to assume that it's not busting this out all the time. Living so far down in the ocean is what facilitates needing such a strong light. Above the water, it's gonna require a lot less to stun an opponent, so it will pull back and be a lot more reasonable. So even though
That
it's
you're
a
assuming
big
a
number
lot.
and awfully spooky to the average reader, it's not as bad as it first seems. It's not like his body is made of electricity. That'd be stupid. Polytoad proudly
Something's gonna
presents
be
a
like that, isn't
pristine
it?
power-up for Poliwhirl.
Oh my god, you
Though
look
procuring
goofy.
the part for its progression may prove pestering, the potent potential of Polytoad is plain to peep.
That's a lot of
Prohibiting
peas,
punches may
sir.
appear pedantic, but passing on the possibility for pugilistic powers
Okay, nah,
provides
you're just
prodigious
overdoing it.
precipitation. Perchance you presumed that prevents problems, but
Please. 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 Perchance. Think about participating in the in the in the scenario of partaking in. No, I can't think of words with P's. Just stop with a P game.
its personal practices provides proof of
Oh my
future
god, so many
performances.
P's.
Poliwhirl and Poliwag are its proteges, and as principal pioneer of their preparation, its piercing
How
peals
long would it
produce
took to
phobic
find out these
performances.
words?
Polytoad may please pros pursuing prestigious prizes, but Polytoad's pleasant personality proves phony with puny progeny. Next up is Suicune, and it's been so long you may have forgotten, but he's actually in a trio. Yeah, there's like 2 more of them. One of them wants to be Ash's dad, I guess. Now, what's holding him back is that
What do you mean one of
nothing holds
one
him
of them
back.
needs to be Ash's
Putting this
dad?
thing on a leash is just a way to lose a leash. He won't stay still no matter what, but for once he actually has somewhere to be. Suicune is a majestic beast who has the magical power to purify water. which means you own a dog who's making a difference. He's also not
Until
the
it's a
easiest
movie
to care
thing.
for since he's
One
not
kidnapped
doing
his
this for his
mom.
health or
Oh my
you know,
god,
maybe he is.
okay.
The ease of care is
I
because
don't
you
know.
need to hold yourself to a higher
I'm
standard.
just gonna accept that that is the lore. I don't know the lore. It sounds so crazy. I don't know Pokemon stuff, chat. It's just sure. Kidnapping mom, want to be a dad, reality warping child, unknowns. You know, of course, a fucking fish with the power of the sun in the palm of its fucking. It's an anglerfish with extra steps. They went from a 5 gigawatt flashlight or light bulb to a fucking 10 million lumen lamp.
Of living, or else Suicune is gonna start getting
It's more
pissed off.
complicated.
No more
I'm
littering,
assuming
gotta
so.
sort your bottles and cans, drive a fuel-efficient car. I bet Suicune would love a break, but as long as that gas-guzzling Revavroom is in the driveway, I guess he won't get one. Finally is Ho-Oh, and the first thing you're gonna need to get over with Ho-Oh is the moral issues of keeping a beautiful, wish-granting phoenix in your garage.
It's a
but
phoenix?
You're not even gonna get your hands on it if you're not worthy. Ho-Oh only appears to the pure of heart, so if you manage to get so far as to plan out what color to paint his room, he already respects you. Ho-Oh actually lacks a lot of the downsides that placed Lugia noticeably lower, like no disasters in his wake, no issues with housing. Sure, he's still a 12-foot tall, 400-pound bird, but he's not making this any harder than it has to be.
Okay.
The two all the way up in 17
Do we get wishes? Can I wish? Can I wish stuff? Can I gamble? Like, is there a limit to the wishes? Can I guess for the next for the next lottery numbers? You know? He only gave the 3 dogs life. How would you implement wishes in the game? I don't know. He said he was a wish thing, a wish bird, so I assumed he could get wishes.
Start with the second in Johto's statue trio, Xatu. What a pretty statue, your friends will say when they walk into your house. Thanks, he has anxiety. Xatu's in a similar boat to his statuesque brothers in Wobbuffet and Sudowoodo, since he's not really up to much. As a psychic type, he has a bit more potential thanks to his ability to move things with his mind, but there's a double-edged sword with Xatu. Sure, his immobility means he's at no risk of hurting
like a
anybody.
Statue.
Why he's standing there, though,
And
is
oddly
the big
Aztec.
issue. Xatu has 2 eyes. You know, like Onyx. One eye watches the future while the other observes the past. The most generous interpretation is that he's immobile because he knows the future will come to pass no matter what, and there's nothing he can do to change it. Alright, my bird has already sunk all the way into nihilism, and you're telling me it gets worse? Yes, in the Omega Ruby entry, it discusses how Xatu will stand motionless out of fear of a horrible future yet to pass. Keeping Xatu around will just be a massive stress spot where looking at him reminds you, oh yeah, I'm gonna die one day. If you can accept your own mortality, sure, get yourself a totem bird. Ampharos is
So you're
next,
basically getting
and
yourself
the
a
world's
gargoyle.
most awkward sheep is pretty great as a pet. First off, if anybody is watching this in a lighthouse, sit down, cause you're about to meet your new best friend. Sheep are kind and friendly animals, and as dubious as
I don't think
its
anybody in the
species
lighthouse is
I'm
watching
inclined
you.
to say it would be just as lovable as a sheep with its wool. Not to
Okay.
mention it's got long dormant dragon blood that awakens when it mega evolves. But remember, if I see you mega evolving a Pokemon, I'm gonna have to assume you're doing some other heinous shit. 18 is the final group with 5 Mons, and we start with Apom. People love pets with personality. Dog sneezes once, now it's the sneezing dog. Same with the murder dog. Apom is like
works in a
that,
lighthouse?
except there's a great chance you're gonna hate his personality. Apom is a monkey, and while real monkeys can be like a sugar-high baby
that's
with
a hand
the
of the
ability
tail.
to climb
That's a
anything,
hand of the tail.
Apom
That's
seems to be
oh.
just a little more
Oh, that's a hand on its tail. That look gross. Oh, that. that was gross. I do not want to think about how there's probably not enough blood flow going to the hand, but okay.
Tempered. Nothing describes it as a pest or annoying. In fact, the worst you can levy against him is that he's a klutz. Given how much he does with his tail, Apom's own hands have grown clumsy, and he has difficulty holding stuff. Keely, not
Okay.
being a dark type means it's a lot more likely Apom
It gets
will know
too
when he's taken a joke
unfortunate.
too far, and will give you back whatever
No,
it
thank
swipes
you.
after it's satisfied.
No, thank you
Murkrow
at all.
and Sneasel, meanwhile, are in the backyard burning your driver's license. Sudowoodo is next, and one of the instances of behavior being so low, not because it's a poorly behaved Pokemon.
This looks like somebody took a sausage and just spray painted it brown. I'm not gonna lie. This kind of looks like a sausage. it's a rock type. Right.
No, see, it doesn't do enough for it to be poorly behaved. Sudowoodo is obsessed
Broccoli
with acting
hands
like a
looking
tree.
thing.
It is pseudo-wood, after all. That means you're buying a literal statue most of the time. Get it wet and things might get hectic, but at least unlike Xatu, whose stoic nature is out of pure cosmic dread, Sudowoodo at least enjoys doing it. And in that context, he's actually a pretty great pet. You aren't gonna catch a Sudowoodo without knowing what you're getting yourself into. So once you
Okay.
have one, you can join the Sudowoodo fan club and subscribe to their magazine, send in photos of Sudowoodo, and get them graded, and learn all there is to know about the rock who wants to be a tree. Next is Quagsire.
Oh,
He's just a big dumb idiot.
He looks so cute. He looks like a sea cow. Oh my god, look at the little guy. He's so adorable. He's got no soul in his eyes. It's so cute. I think this is adorable. He's got a little nose, a little sniffer. He's got little eyes. He's so cute and adorable. His little floopy hands. It's adorable. It's absolutely adorable. I'm not gonna lie.
Plus, he can introduce you to Wooper. Drink the bug milk. You're making him sad. He's making so much of it. Drink the bug milk or he's gonna cry.
What's
Yeah,
the
that's Shuckle for
nutritional?
ya. Needing to
What's
get
the
him
nutritional
all the berries
value
he
of the bug
needs
milk?
to ferment all that bug juice is gonna be quite the pricey endeavor unless you knuckle down and make your own trees. Other than that, and a harsh typing score, Shuckle's kinda wonderful. He's just a little worm living in a rock, and while it's gonna be awkward when your guests find out where this delicious punch came from, the Pokedex doesn't treat Shuckle's drink-making process like the weird thing it absolutely is. It comes down to taste, really, as it does with a lot of bug types, but Shuckle is easily the best one to come out of Johto. Last
Okay.
up for 18 is Delibird, and you can own
Why does it
Santa
have a bag?
Claus. Sure, you've got to keep your house at sub-zero temperatures, but he's a kind soul. It's impossible to hate a Pokemon who doesn't want to do anything but be nice and spread goodwill. It's not his fault that sometimes there are bombs in his presence. Delibirds throughout history are known.
But that's just Santa Claus with a threat of terrorism. How nice. Give you a choco berry to hold it. Turns out a berry juice. Bag is its tail. What? Really? It's its tail? That's okay. I guess that's a thing. That's weird, but who am I to judge? Who am I to really judge about a a bag tail with the threat of bombs? It's a bomb. It was made in a bomb factory. So you're telling me this is just Santa Claus with a threat of domestic terrorism? All right, all right.
To help the lost and hungry by bringing them food. They're great with kids, and if that housing problem gets too bad, you can always consider picking up an Alolan Delibird, since they're far more resilient to the heat than others. Hypothermia, though, is just a small price to pay for spreading joy like Delibird does. The final stop before the best of the best is 19, and once again, an evolution
Oh my
managed
god, I
to
recognize
sneak
one
in.
of those. It's just a
And
cat.
this time, people haven't been
With 2
weird about it.
tails.
As weird about it, Espeon is the sun to Umbreon's moon, which means where Umbreon fails, Espeon succeeds. Umbreon's poisonous sweat is replaced with very sensitive hairs on the tip of Espeon's forked tail, and nobody's ever slipped sensitive hair into tea to kill their rich husband. If you take away the psychic powers,
Okay.
Espeon's kinda just a normal cat. It likes bathing in the sun, gets sad when it's cold, and it's got
The attack present either does damage or heals opponents. It's not good competitively.
a jewel. If you haven't found your cat's emerald yet, you're just a bad pet owner.
What? Excuse me?
A jewel. If you haven't
Sir, who the hell kind of rich person just put a fucking... he just put a... Damn, bro, you kind of broke.
found your cat's emerald yet, you're just a bad pet owner. Espeon is also another Pokemon where it will only exist if it loves its trainer. And unlike Umbreon, it developed its powers further because it wanted to keep its trainer safe, not because glowing sounded cool. Finally is Ledian, the second
surprised
half
a
of
bug
Johto's poor,
is this
underwhelming
high.
bug duo. Ledian is a shocking upset to see make this far. I thought it'd be written off real early by some Dex entry talking
I hate
about
bugs.
a time it robbed a gas
I'm
station,
not gonna lie.
but instead it paints a very cute picture. During the day, it's very sleepy and enjoys curling up in the grass to rest and eat berries. At night, it seems to draw a strange power from the stars themselves and uses that to fuel its fighting efforts. Except as we learn, it's not especially dangerous in that regard. Just one of his fists is barely enough to do anything. That's why he needs 4 of them. You're not in any danger around Ledian.
That why is the worst
Even
Pokemon.
the dust it spreads while looking up at the stars
Makes
is treated
sense.
as a symbol of good luck. Ledian is really on the cusp of breaking into the 20s, which is where we're moving next, and how's our absolute top-tier Poképets. These
That looks
are
like-
the gold standards.
I'm sorry. This looks like one of Bowser's kids with a crown. I am not gonna lie. This really does look like one of Bowser's kids just with a crown. I'm sorry, but that's all I'm seeing here. What is this though? I don't recognize it at all.
That if you can get, you absolutely should. 20 is prime real estate, and it belongs solely to the king, Slow King.
Oh my
That's
god.
right. When an evil little creature isn't sitting on his head and teaching him slurs, Slow King can actually be pretty cool.
Slur!
Now, he is still getting gallons upon gallons of poison dumped into his brain, but unlike Umbreon and Gligar, he rises above it and only uses it as a brain booster. Slow King is an extremely intelligent Pokemon, able to match wits with other psychic types like Oranguru, and act as a sage for people in need of advice. While his large size might make him a bit of a tight squeeze, his
I don't know about
greatest
taking
asset
advice from
is his
Pokemon.
temperament. Slow King is easygoing and laid back, while being more alert than Slowpoke. That does mean he's more likely to remember when you forget to buy him those pants you promised, but just don't forget, dummy. 21 is our introduction to the first actual dog in this generation, Smeargle. Don't let those overdeveloped hind legs
What?
fool you, this guy's a pup, and a creative one. Smeargle's main feature
This is that does not look like a dog.
is its tail, and the paint-like fluids it secretes that it uses for drawings. This is the first time secrete and fluids are used to describe a Pokemon that doesn't end in
Yeah.
a fatality. Smeargle is a kind and docile Pokemon with not
like
much
a
of a care in the
painter.
world except how to express itself. Behavior-wise, that can often create problems, since it will wander around town and mark the buildings with graffiti. But if you can make sure he varies up his designs, they might not catch him. But even then, the cost of canvases is offset by the greatest part of owning a Smeargle. He's a money-making machine. Collectors go gaga for Smeargle art, so set your little buddy off on the one thing he loves more than anything, and by the end of the day, you've paid off your student debt. The trans icon themselves, Azumarill, is next, and there's not much that can really sell Azumarill more than it does
I mean, it
to
kind of looks
sell
like
itself.
Snoopy. I was thinking about that dog you were talking about, and I thought it looks like Snoopy, but I didn't know if that was his name or if I was just thinking about Snoop Dogg. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a big, beautiful bundle of blue hugs. It's like Stantler, but in reverse, where why it's so amazing is so plain to see that you don't really need help understanding. Do you want me to talk about how it loves riverbeds? Do you want to hear about its excellent hearing? How it became fairy type? Or do you just want to look at its face?
It's
Our
so
final
cute
stop
looking,
on the
its
road to
face.
the top 5 best and worst is 22, and it's a grass-type extravaganza. First up is the Guardian of Time.
Oh, I've seen
Celebi.
you.
At least they used to be. Nowadays they're kind of the mid-level manager of time. Thanks a lot, Dialga. Celebi is a beacon of sorts, with its arrival heralding a positive and prosperous future. Life just improves with a Celebi around. Not just your own, but the life around you.
So, like,
Celebi's ability
good
to
luck?
revive plant life and bolster the environment means that it can generate positive feelings all around.
Farmers
An
need
entire
you.
city would see its mood improve thanks
Farmers
to Celebi.
need
The
you.
only
You'll get
problem
monopolized
is
by
that
America.
Its nature leads it to leave a lot to travel through time. Where and when it ends up makes it hard to determine when you're gonna get to see it again, but it's also said to leave eggs from the future that it finds. Now, this could be good, but at the same time, you have to think about what Xatu's been saying, cause the future sounds kinda scary. Finally is the highest rated starter ever, Meganium. You'd think that housing what
You look
amounts to a
goofy,
dinosaur
but, like,
would
in a
be
cute
tough,
way.
but at 5'11", it's not that tight a squeeze. Besides, it'll be spending most of its time basking in the sun. It has a power similar to Celebi, where it can revive dead plants, and has a major bonus over other grass starters. Unlike Venusaur's poison typing, Monograss Meganium doesn't give off poison, but a sweet scent, and calms down aggressive people and Pokemon the same. Meganium's positive
neutralizer.
influence means it doesn't just help itself, but other Pokemon that can't quite keep their emotions under control. Though, it might not be enough to wrangle the bottom 5, which leads us into the top 5! Except, Johto's funny, cause they went and gave an evolution to the last champ, Porygon. Porygon 2 is pretty much a better Porygon. Same digital home, ease of care, safety. Heck, the one problem with Porygon was literally smoothed out. So,
I don't know which one. I don't remember which one this
still
was.
The best. So, top 6 best Poképets.
Okay.
No, not that either. Blissey. Yeah, Chansey got an evolution too, and
Okay.
it's just more Chansey. Top 7 best. The winner gets the bronze medal. But before we can even think about the lofty heights of 3rd place, we've got to deal with our 5th worst Poképet.
Ooh.
With a sour
cuttlefish.
monk like that, it's not a surprise.
Not cuttlefish. What do I think cuttlefish? Is that what they're called? Blowfish? No, I'm thinking about puffer. Pufferfish. That's the word. I don't know why I was thinking about that other thing. Puffer. Cuttlefish is like squid. Like no. As soon as now I know. My brain just had a moment of not understanding word definitions, but it came back to me. Yeah, pufferfish. Yeah, I bet you're poisonous. I swear you are.
Quillfish is not too keen on the pet life, and he's sure to let you know. Quillfish are known to puff up at the sight of danger and launch their spines at their attackers. Its poor swimming skills give it a complex like Piloswine, where anything it can see is a potential threat, so it's incredibly violent. But a poison type is only as dangerous as the poison he creates, and it just so happens that Quillfish's is among the worst of them all. Simply fainting doesn't sound that bad, but where are you gonna be tangling with a Quillfish?
In the water.
And the doggy paddle gets a lot harder to perform when you can't move. Just wait until we get to Hisui where he can't stop puffing up. As for the 5th best Poképet, isn't it weird that this was Togepi's final evolution for a few regions? Like, this thing is begging to evolve. This is not the neck of a confident final evolution. Now,
Looks
no
like a
mix. That's the future.
looks like a retarded pigeon. I don't know why. It's just the energy it's giving me.
Togetic comes from the absolutely blessed Togepi line and is the highest rated friendship Pokemon. That means you've proven yourself and are only just now reaping the benefits. When it's around kind-hearted people, it will shower them with happiness, or as one Dex entry insists on calling it, joy dust. Do not inhale the joy dust.
So
the
drugs.
only con you can really find with Togetic is that if you start acting like a bad person or have a lot of jerk friends, it makes Togetic sad. It doesn't make it sick or make it die, you'll just disappoint it. This is a Pokemon who's so kind you might start getting imposter syndrome. Like, surely I don't deserve this. Guess what, dummy, you do. Number 4 for the worst is... You had one shot, ghost types, and the best you could muster was going from the second worst to the fourth worst. Hey, next list, you might actually escape the bottom 5. As long as one of you doesn't start wanting to kill children. Mischievious's crimes extend far past only being available in Kanto. As with nothing but a head and a necklace, it can do major damage. The Dex entries start gently, saying it loves to annoy and spook people by biting their hair and screaming in their face when they sleep. That's the nice stuff it does, by the way. By Alola, though, they started to realize, why play it so subtly? Just start draining people of their life force, lure them in with the sounds of crying children. It flat out admits that its entire reason for living is just to scare people. Listen, ghost types, stop being so bad and I'll start being nicer.
You'd be good at a horror house.
Is number 4 best.
That's
Sunflora's never been on a list that either wasn't worst fully evolved Pokemon or best Pokemon themed after the sun. In all fairness, Sunflora is an extremely safe pick. Baby's First Pokemon isn't a bad title for Sunflora as a pet. It's not physically or specially intimidating. It's got no secondary typing that drags down a fantastic grass typing.
It's throwing a beam of light.
It doesn't have much negative in its Dex entries. Truly, Sunflora managed to get this far, not because it's especially stand out like a Togetic or the later picks. It makes it this far because it's very plain, and it's not the worst thing when your dog can't bend space and time. Number 3 worst could stand to learn a lesson from that.
That looks horrifying.
What a fall off for pseudo-legendaries. Last gen, Dragonite. Friend-shaped, sailors. Good. Tyranitar. Evil. Nasty. Green. Who would be green? Dragonite, sweetie, I know you're just trying to make him feel better. Oh man, does Tyranitar not want to be a pet?
It looks evil.
Nicknames like
looks like a Godzilla villain.
And Mountain Mover,
but
his
obese.
Destructive potential can't be understated. Tyranitar can rearrange entire mountain ranges during its very frequent temper tantrums and can be felt coming from a mile away. It's a brand of aggression unmatched by most any Pokemon, and its impenetrable armor means that not only is it impossible to take down, it knows it. Tyranitar, on top of all of this, is an incredibly headstrong Pokemon, thanks to its bulk, and will throw that weight around. The only people it spares are people too weak to put up a fight. Big talk coming from Mr. 4 times weak to fighting. It also might not have the easiest time against our number 3 best Pokepet. Yep, the new final evolution for a line that bottomed out at Steelix
this looks like a
levels.
cuttlefish.
You're so lucky you have a cute face.
Yeah, you look like a
The
cuttlefish.
line all the way to a 3rd place finish. What was holding it back was the poison. Blossom lives for one thing and one thing only.
Okay.
Dancing. When the sun emerges, it will dance happily.
Oh, I guess I could.
Improving
Yeah,
moods and
yeah,
releasing
I could see
wonderful
that.
scents. If the sun isn't out, surprise! It has a dance to call forth the sun. Nothing will stop this thing from dancing, and with all the benefits that it brings, far be it from me to stop it. For the number 2 worst Pokepet, seeing him away from number 1 might be a shock, but... Yep, the elephant finally entered the room. So Magcargo hangs over
It's
the Johto
love.
pet scene like an anvil.
It's a fucking lava. What did you expect? It's... There's no safe way to house this.
cause it seems like a conversation isn't even necessary. Magcargo is said to clock in at over 18,000 degrees, and boils water on contact with its skin. Yeah, I think it also ignites the atmosphere, but sure, let's talk about the water. Now, the Pokedex can exaggerate on occasion, especially in regard to what these things can do to Indian elephants. So, can we really trust 18,000 degrees? How are you even gonna get an accurate measurement on something like that? If you go based on the real-world equivalent to Magcargo, magma, you're looking at nearly a ninth of that measurement at only 2,000 degrees. That's much more reasonable, and just as
Very
fatal.
reasonable.
Now, 2,000 degrees is how hot Magcargo's body is, but that doesn't automatically mean it's gonna be 2,000 degrees everywhere it goes. People have been able to get around 5 feet away from an active lava flow in little more than a t-shirt and cargo shorts and feel like they're near a fireplace. Magcargo is far less fatal than you'd first assume by reading its hyperbolic dex entry. But it's still
lava.
magma.
Yeah, it's still lava.
It's still hot enough to
It's still
ignite
magma.
wood by getting too close to it, evaporate water, burn you. What keeps Magcargo out of the worst is a combination of how it's not as dangerous as it seems, but it's also not badly
Still
behaved. Their shells are
dangerous, though.
described as brittle, and it's afraid of the rain, so it sounds kind of like a scaredy cat to me. Even with an okay personality, Magcargo still earns its low spot. As for the top spot, we got a tie. The last two Pokemon are
Okay.
so fantastic and lovable, they each
Ties.
got a perfect score.
Can we see what the two
Truthfully,
are?
they
Drum
both
roll.
get first place, so take their placement with a grain of salt. We might as well be going alphabetically. We're going alphabetically.
Okay.
Number 2 best Pokepet goes to... Where is
I recognize that music. Yeah. Bow, bow, bow.
Majestic, urbane, awe-inspiring.
He's a
Ferret.
Weasel.
There have been Pokemon
ferret,
like
whatever.
Azumarill where their amazing aspects are kind of hard to put into words. With Ferret, I find it near impossible. He wants to live in your couch cushions and chase Rattatas. How could you hate him?
So
Imagine
cute.
using
He's
him as a
lifting
neck
up
pillow
older.
when you sleep. Imagine how good he is at giving hugs. Imagine picking anybody other than Ferret. Oh right, I did, sorry. The come down to the absolute worst Pokepet in
that a
Johto,
hound
though, is
dog?
like a plane crashing.
Yeah.
Oh, big shock, the Hellhound isn't nice. Houndoom is a hauntingly evil
Houndoom.
Pokemon. Mix two types that underperform on their own and put it on a pooch with the personality of a hot brand.
Wow.
The conversation should
I didn't
begin
think it'd
and
be this
end
low.
at its horrible attitude and aggressive nature, but what Houndoom exceeds at is being an asshole in such unique ways. First
How
up is its
so?
fire, which is created by igniting toxins. God damn it! This unique way of making fire
It always
means
comes
that the
back to
fire also
toxins.
smells awful. So while you're burning to death, everybody around you is gonna have to hold their nose. Let's say the impossible happens and you survive a Houndoom attack. Well, the horror show's only just begun, as the toxins in Houndoom's fire serve a secondary purpose. Once you're burned with a Houndoom's flame,
Poison,
the pain
probably.
never ends. However long you choose to make the rest of your life is going to be spent feeling like you're on fire. There's a reason older cultures thought he was the Grim Reaper. No, turns out he's just working on commission for him. Houndoom is a monster of a Pokemon. If you own one, no one is gonna believe you're not a serial killer. And after a whole list of calling Pokemon dogs, who'd have thought that the whole thing would be bookended by 2 dogs?
Oh. That is not
I
a big
didn't
a
believe
dog.
it at first. I really didn't. This big old
That
mutt
looks
looks
horrifying.
like the furthest thing from a good pet. He looks like the furthest thing from anything else in the top 5.
Yes.
But lo and behold, it's actually the best of the best.
No
So
way.
what
I don't
is
believe
about
it.
Granbull that makes him such a perfect pet?
I need to know.
Well,
Facts.
first off,
Right now.
he's a fairy. So
Okay.
let's go with that.
That
The
is
first
nothing.
thing you have to learn about Granbull is how much its looks deceive you. What looks like the world's toughest guard dog is little more than an overly pampered puppy who's more timid than anything. He hates fighting and causing trouble and just wants to be a good boy. If Mastiffs can be good dogs, then so can Granbull. He'll fight if he absolutely has to, but if it can be avoided, he'll just run away. That actually makes him kind of unpopular with people who want him to be a guard dog or a nasty pit bull that can sick on people, but he's just not that kind of dog. The Pokédex calls him totally incompetent as a guard dog, which harsh, but at least you're pointing people in the right direction, so you're totally safe around it. It's as easy to house as a dog, has the perfect typing, easy to take care of, and best of all is a total
Sparrow
scaredy
was
sweetheart.
robbed. I
Granbull
100%
just
agree.
needs a little love, and you've got the perfect pet. So, what's the takeaway from all this? It seems like this should all be cut and dry, but then you see an example like this. A short all about how kind Slugma is, and notice how the girl isn't melting. Later, her grandma is knitting with Ariados, and that guy was way down on the list.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this Togekiss is more than happy to see the entire human race extincted. What I'm trying to say is that as much as you want to break it down into numbers, a Pokemon at the end of the day is such a fantastical work of fiction that you really can't. There's probably a loving and caring Houndoom out there, or a nasty and rotten Furret. Ultimately, I don't think there's any point at trying to rank them like this. Psych.
Do it
Digimon,
anyways.
what again, baby? Pop the champagne!
What?
We never need to check our watches again. It's always Agumon o'clock. We're watching the Digimon movie tonight, boys. Angela Anaconda
Huh?
included. Another win for the good guys.
What? I'm confused. So, wait, huh? Wait.
Remember, children, sometimes the worst hells are of our own creation. Sunflora, Igglybuff, Piloswine,
Oh, he's doing this
Slugma,
again.
Crobat, Politoed,
He's not getting it.
Noctowl, Houndour, Heracross, Natu, Tyrogue, Ariados, Lugia, Steelix, Phanpy, Ampharos. I bet you didn't even know there was a
Like
Johto Pokemon.
Digimon more than
Because
Pokemon.
it sucks.
I can see
it's
why.
not nearly as good or iconic as the original. Like, these singers are being beaten to death by this rhythm. As am I. I'm not trying to say that I'm any better. I'm just trying to say Sudowoodo, Corsola, Teddy Ursa Sneasel, Forretress, Mantine, Pichu, Larvitar, Hoot Hoot, Miltank, Totodile, Gligar, Lantern, Skarmory, Spinarak, Tyranitar. I even had to get a new version of the song made just so I didn't get killed by copyright. Who, I will credit, Egophobia created this song, and they are absolutely fantastic. A joy to work with. They turned absolute dog piss into lemonade. Chikorita, Dunsparce, Aipom, Pupitar, Porygon 2, Cyndaquil, Elekid, Raikou,
come on,
Wobbuffet,
man.
Typhlosion,
You got this.
Granbull, Pokemon, Stantler, Espeon, Ledybug, Togepi. There's also singing in between the Pokemon, which makes this so much harder to fill. So let's nourish the brain a bit. This is the opening to The Great Gatsby. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all those people in the world haven't had the advantages that you've had. A mind-blowing piece of literature from F. Scott
Damn,
Fitzgerald,
bro, dropping
who
life
we were all
advice.
forced to read in middle school and never really got the message of. There was a 2013 movie by Quillfish, Azumarill, Croconaw, Snubbull, Ursa Ring, Yanma, Smoochum, Slowking, Blissey, Caesar, Donphan, Houndoom, Octillery, Hooper, Mary, Hitmontop, Marill, Umbreon, Bayleaf! So what's your guys' favorite Pokemon?
I don't have a favorite
Mine used to be
Pokemon.
Heracross, but I sort of warmed up. Skarmory, Ledian, Girafarig, Murkrow, Remoraid, Jumpluff, Quilava, Smeargle, Swinub, Magcargo, Furret, Bellossom, Flaffy, Entei, Meganium, Magby, Zatum, Bestrevious, Togetic, Chuckle, Quagsire, Pineco, Chinchou, Feraligatr, Hoppip, Kingdra, Unowned, Cleffa, Suicune, Delibird, Sentry, Skimploom! Now I think it might be Electivire.
Wow. Shoot, that was a long video. That was great, though. Wait, there's 10 seconds left. Okay, this is just outro stuff. That was great. Wow. That was Pokemon. Yikes. I gotta say, though, the ferret, most second favorite. Second favorite was ferret. My first favorite was that the sea cow looking one with the dead eyes and very big face and small nose. He was the most adorable little girl. Furret. Ah, okay, that's to pronounce it. Furret. Yeah, Furret definitely number one. And I'm not even gonna pronounce that. But that one, I guess, would be number two then. But yeah, those would be my two picks, my favorite ones that I saw here. Just in general. Everything else is kind of meh. I'm not gonna lie. Everything else is kind of meh. But as always, I'll put the original video down in the description down below. Make sure to check them out. Their content's amazing. And if you do enjoy my reaction to it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Besides that, though, it's gonna be all for you guys today. I'll see you guys later. See ya.